And I walk off stage, and there's the guy standing there, and he goes, "You're fired."
Oh.
And I went,
What?
Yeah. He goes, "You're fired." And I went, "Oh, okay." And then I went back to my room.
Guess I get to just enjoy this cruise ship for a couple
Yeah, I'm just
7
like,
days.
all right.
Get the dinghy.
Whatever. And so I'm back in my little ridiculous little room, and I thought, wow, this is crazy. And then someone comes down there, and they say, "Pack your stuff. There's a helicopter, and we're flying you off the ship." And I was like, okay.
Had you ever been on a helicopter before?
No, it was awesome.
You guys did touch on something yesterday that I thought would be a fun conversation to have today, specifically with David. David's a young comedian and doing all of that. We were talking about, you guys have been doing it a long time, and you're doing cruise ships now, and you have a relationship with cruise ship comedy, and Stewart has a relationship with cruise ship comedy. Do you mind if we touch on that stuff a little bit?
Yes, but let's go ahead. Go ahead.
What's
A
your
lot of hesitation.
What's your hesitation?
I don't know. Like the same thing it always is. You just say there's an embarrassment to it.
I know. That's what I'm curious about.
And but all
why? Why? And I understand why.
Because it's failure to me.
Is it?
Yes.
Why?
Because when I was his age, I don't know if I'd started comedy, but when we first met, my goal was to be great and to be doing theaters and to be
that was 20-something years ago.
Have a Brian Regan type career. That's what you want. That's the goal, right? You want.
How long have you been doing comedy?
I don't know, 97 years, 50, something like that.
It's 24, 25 years is my guess, right? A little bit longer?
A little bit longer.
96,
Okay.
95.
So since 1995, how many times have you been wrong? It's been a good amount.
No, it has not.
That's my favorite question that's been asked since I pulled into Greensboro.
4?
All right.
4.
So let's call
it. Good Lord.
Let's call it 5 now.
Wait a minute. It's 2:50 p.m. You've been wrong 4 times since lunch.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Question's not answered.
4.
So I really am fascinated with this because we've had conversations about it as well. When I started comedy, I listened to guys like you and the people who started right around when you started.
No, you didn't. I told you this leads to nowhere.
I know.
I told you,
And I was
that
wrong.
grumpy guy. That guy.
I didn't think you were grumpy. I honestly, when we first met, I thought you were too full of fucking flowers and crystals, man. I thought you were,
What does that mean?
I was negative. You know what I mean? I was overly negative, so I thought you were being too light on some stuff. And it turns out I think you were right on a lot of the stuff you told me.
See, that's what I was saying.
But there is this stigma that goes along with cruise ships, and I think that, I'm going to do a Tom Simmons. I think that ship has passed.
That ship has sailed, baby. You got to get the expression right.
But I would like to talk about what are the things that when you guys started were they were wrong thoughts, you know what I mean?
Here's the thing, is at any given time in comedy, there are, this is good, that's bad, this is good, that's bad, this is right, that's wrong. The truth of it all is all of it's wrong. All of it. Putting boundaries on comedy, anybody that says... On art, yeah, but specifically we're talking about comedy here. Anybody that says anything, that's wrong, you can disprove that. Mm-hmm. So working a cruise ship is, you failed, it's hack work. That's when Tom and I started, that was the thing. If you couldn't make it in clubs, you went to cruise ships. Why? Because cruise ships did not want you to challenge the audience at all. Mm-hmm. And it's not even like an abortion bit or a gun bit or something like that. They didn't want you to say anything.
Yeah, poop.
Yeah, they literally would, you just walk up to the microphone and say poop, and then 11 minutes later when the laughter died down, then you say boobs.
I wonder if that's true. That's our stereotype, but I wonder if that's true. I wonder if there was guys out there then, they don't know what they're talking about.
But here's my point is, it doesn't matter where you're doing comedy. It matters what you're doing. That's the point. Right now, things have changed. Not only cruise ships, the mentality surrounding whether or not you're working cruise ships has changed. When Tom and I started, it was like, oh, they work cruise ships. When someone said that about you, then it was like, okay, they don't count.
You were a hack.
Yeah, you're a hack. You don't count in the art form of stand-up comedy.
But we
now,
go ahead.
now people say, oh, they work the road. That means they don't count. They, if you're not working Chicago, New York, L.A., then you don't really count.
That's been most of our career, though. Like,
yeah,
that's
but
been
it
the last
has
25
changed
years.
a little bit.
I think now it's more respected than it was. Like I don't know because I'm not out there, but my impression used to be like, you go to do the showcases for Montreal and the things that then get you the other things, the TV and blah blah, and in front of the showbiz. There's you can smell the road on that guy. Like the road was the bad thing. Like and instead of embracing it with like a badge, like fuck yeah, I'm a road guy. There was a lot of that sort of he's a road guy. You sort of worried about that about yourself. But I think we sort of embraced the like I want to be a fucking road comic. Screw that. I'm not against what anybody else is doing, but this is comedy. Like. And then and then you start working some of these rooms, and you realize, well, you can kill, you can figure out how to kill, or you can, I don't know, it sounds harsh, but be good. So you don't have, as long as you use the road to keep working to get good, then you can do what he does in the Comedy Zone in Greenville.
The road will make you better. But you
got to use it.
Yes, you have to use it. The problem, Eric, is like, if you go to, cruise ships want you to go out there and not say anything because they don't want any complaints from anybody on the boat.
That they want 100% approval rating.
They want 100% approval rating.
I don't know if that's totally true now.
It might have changed, but that's where the stereotype came from. Was you can't actually do anything of substance.
To have a puppet or something.
Right. So, and then what happens is if someone like Tom, let's say, got on a cruise ship, most of the time what's going to happen is wherever you take a human and put them into another arena, they are going to adjust to that or those demands. But that's the key to me is if you are in a bar in Greensboro, North Carolina, and they want you to do poop jokes and you just don't, then it becomes interesting. Because then you're being who you want to be no matter where anybody puts you, and that will make you grow as a comedian. In other words, you're just dismissing the stereotype. I don't give a damn if this bar wants me to do poop jokes. I don't do poop jokes, so I'm not doing it. And you're not going to work there again, but who cares? Who wanted to? Do you know what I mean? So and then it becomes that you're actually using this to your benefit. You're growing. Because I think you're going to grow a lot quicker if you go into an arena where you don't fit and you still you're stubborn enough not to give in to them, but you're also open enough to maybe
take the gig
and do it, and then allow them. I think of my comedy as like it's two rocks hitting each other. Most of my shows, people don't agree with what I'm saying. Most of them. And I'm not going to not say it. So it's two rocks that are just pounding on each other. And after I do enough shows, both of these sides the edges are now curved a little bit, and we can figure out where we overlap and where we agree. And I can figure out how to say something without giving up my point, but make it a little explain it more from their position.
More palatable from every perspective.
Right. Do you know what I'm saying? So it becomes... and that makes me a better communicator. If I learn how to explain my point, I'll give you an example. I had a joke here's what the joke ended up being. It started out with a thought that it's just stupid to hate science. People, we're living through a time where certain populations, certain people in this country, I hate science, right? I wanted to write some material about that. And I'm doing it in bars in front of people that hate science.
Right.
Okay? Right. So how can I still continue to talk about this but make them laugh? That's a way higher hurdle than going to Chicago or San Francisco or New York and saying, aren't those people that hate science stupid?
Yeah.
That's all you got to...
Smashing in an echo chamber.
Right. So now I have this high hurdle. And the joke I ended up writing was you can't hate science and love NASCAR. NASCAR without science is called running. Now I've used their terms. You know, instead of being how high and mighty and I'm smarter than you, I've thought about it from their position. How can I make this argument using their terms and what they like?
Or to make them realize they already do believe in science.
Yes, they 100% believe in science, you know. But I was forced to think about it from their point of view because I wasn't in an echo chamber. That's when cruise ships become interesting. That's the reason what Tom is doing right now, working cruise ships, interests me.
Same with Bevins and there's like I said,
Paul
they're
Hooper,
different now.
who's
different
amazing.
Now. Like,
And
and they pay
Bevins.
more. They pay more than the clubs.
Dude, listen,
and the audiences are like, they're genuine, like good crowd. Like
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean? It's fun telling
I just
jokes
don't
to people.
understand
That,
if
you know?
there's any hesitation on anybody's part to, even if it's the worst show, crowd, whatever, a bar show at the beach is better than a bar show in a bad neighborhood. You know what I mean? You're in a lovely environment. You're getting paid well. The food's good. It sounds fantastic from my perspective now. But when I started, I had a little bit of that, you know, that perspective because I listened. I consumed everything comedy I could get my hands on, and hearing people talk down at that or at the road or whatever it was.
Right.
But when I started, I just wanted to be you guys. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want to be on TV. I don't give a fuck about all of that.
You did it.
Yeah. Well,
So far, you've done it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey. And we did it too, Tom.
We did it too.
It's not like
yeah, you guys
Yeah.
did it. Fuck
Yes.
you, Tom.
I know.
we did it too, buddy.
That's what I mean. Like I was the same. Like this path's gonna work because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
different. No, it goes nowhere. You know, not
I would
nowhere.
argue with that.
Yeah,
But
you're
yeah.
making it getting ready. You're through yours. You're selling a documentary that's not even related to
Well, I'm
comedy.
not even
but
talking
is.
about that.
But I'm just saying, there's
yeah.
success.
It goes
in different ways. You
nowhere.
can't
It goes
fail.
nowhere if. But here's the thing. This is interesting to me. I figured this out. It took me way too long because I'm not that quick. But if you're gonna, the rules are set out. The rules are right there in front of you. You get together a 4 or 5 minute set for television. You get on Kimmel, and then you get an acting gig, and then you do the, and then you know the rules are there. If you look at it like what Eric just said, and he said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different. Okay, fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. You want to do something different? Do something different. But the mistake people make is they say, I'm going to do something different, but I want the same reward.
Right. That's true. That's good.
You can't do that. If you're going to break the rules, set up your own system of rewards. That's the key. You say, okay, I
Like
don't want...
Stanhope did like that kind of thing.
Sure. That's a good example. Or you say, I'm not interested in a Netflix special. There's nothing wrong with that at all. What are you interested in? I want to be able to write an hour about something that comes from my heart. Okay, fine. Then there's your, if you win, there's your, that's what you win. That's your trophy. So start working on it. And once you get there, then be happy and proud that I did this. And then set up another goal. But you can't say, I want to break all the rules and I want to be rich and famous.
Right.
The hell's your problem?
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I wish you'd had this conversation with me a long time ago.
I wish that was the conversation we would have had 10 years ago.
Right. Well, I tried to, but you were on a cruise ship.
No cell service on that thing. You had mentioned, you did a cruise ship?
Yeah.
Yeah. You had a specific story that I thought was funny. Do you mind?
You want the whole story? Or
Yeah,
you just want
we got nothing to do.
All right. Al Ernst, who's Tom knows.
How do you not know Al Ernst from wrestling?
Al Ernst. Yeah, he was a wrestler.
Well, if you give me his wrestling name, I would. Was his name Al Ernst? I mean,
Flying Burrito.
Was not.
No, it was not. I made that up. Al worked cruise ships a lot, Carnival, and there is a difference in cruise lines apparently.
Sure.
So, and Al said, I think I can get you on the cruise ship. And even at the time, I was like, why in the world would you think I should be? But whatever. So I'm supposed to fly. Okay, I fly from Atlanta, Georgia to Cancun, and that's it. I have one plane ticket and I get off of the plane in Cancun, and I say to the person, Al told me everything to do. Like Al said, here's what you're going to do. And so I listened to Al. He said, get off the plane, go to the taxi stand, tell them you want the Carnival cruise ship. They'll take you to it. And then you talk to this guy and tell them you're the comedian and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I go up, taxi stand. I need the Carnival cruise ship. They say, okay, I'll take you right there. And I get in a taxi, and they drive me to a dock, where a bunch of boats are, and I pay the guy. And I'm standing in line, and I say, I'm here for the Carnival cruise ship. And they're like, it's not here. And I'm like, what? And then there's another taxi guy, and different guy, that's like, I'll take you to it. I get in another taxi, drives me to another dock, and I stand in line. I pay that guy, and it's not here. And I'm like, whoa. And then there's another taxi guy that's like, I'll take you. And I'm like, no.
Right.
Like, I only brought $20
Right.
in money because I'm going to be on a ship. What's the point? I don't like traveling with a bunch of stuff. Anyway, so I'm beginning to kind of feel like, whoa. And then this guy at the check-in stand goes, look, Carnival cruise ship is not in Cancun.
No shit.
It doesn't dock here. It docks in Cozumel. So I said, where in the hell is Cozumel? And he goes, it's a couple hours south of here. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to get there? I have no money. Like, literally, I have no money. He loaned me some money and put me on a worker bus, I loved it.
Yeah,
I was about to say that's
Really?
perfect for you.
yeah, it's right up your alley.
It was amazing.
So you went from like, were you mad, and then you were like, this is great?
I
Or-
was scared that I was like, what am I going to do? I'm screwed.
I'm so mad at Al right now. I can't believe, like, he's the guy. He didn't bother to tell you that part?
No, I'll tell you what happened in a minute. So I get on this worker bus, which is, I had never been on a worker bus. It's exactly what it is. It's workers. It's the cheapest way to travel in Mexico. Cheapest, absolutely, in Mexico. And it stops every, 8 miles. The thing will stop, and, it's a small bus, and you are crammed on this thing. I mean, crammed on it. And, 11 people will get off, and then you can stretch out a little bit, and then 27 get back on, and it's even worse. It's just god awful and beautiful. I mean, and there are people. There's a lady next to me with a live chicken. Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. It's so great. And I began, but then,
That's so funny. I don't even have a follow-up question. You know what I mean? Like, originally my brain was like, oh, ask him why he loved the chicken. I was like, we'll just let that be.
it's a chicken. It's a woman with a chicken on a
What
bus.
what is it doing? Is it?
It's being a chicken.
What is it doing?
It took a break and scuba dived for
I
a
mean,
while.
is she holding it, or
Underwater
is it like
She's
on the
holding it by its talons, and this thing would and just freak out.
It's
and
her
then,
chicken, yeah.
and and she would do that. You know what I mean?
okay.
It was I loved it. So anyway, and then we're stopping literally every 5 or 6 miles. This bus stops, and it's beginning to occur to me, there's no way I'm going to make this Carnival ship, because it's going to take 7 hours to get stopping. This is nuts. So then I begin to realize I'm stuck in Mexico. I got nothing. I got no money. I got nothing. And I think I started to sweat a lot, and maybe it's setting in that it's going to be a long
Reality.
Yeah. And this
Does your
woman
cell phone work?
with this woman, I don't remember what year this
I don't
was.
think there were cell phones.
I don't think I had
Yeah,
a cell
your
phone.
Nextel two-way device probably.
Yeah.
Right. So this woman begins to speak Spanish to me, and I don't speak Spanish at all, and she's got a chicken, and that's awesome. And I'm going back and forth, and I'm trying to figure it out, and she seems very nice, but I don't understand what she's saying. So I literally pull out a piece of paper that Carnival sent me with itinerary on it, right? And I'm drawing a ship. I'm trying to communicate. And she sees the Carnival logo, and she's, what is that, Carnival? And I went, yes. And I don't know, I just understood that she knew that that's where you know what I mean? So at some point, the bus stops, and she grabs my hand and pulls me, and I just went with her. I was just like, whatever. I'm going with this lady with the chicken, you know? And we get off the boat, and off the bus, and she's running and with a chicken. It's amazing. And I'm behind her running, you know? And I don't really know where I'm going, and then we get down there and blah blah blah, and then there it is. It's the Carnival cruise ship.
No shit.
Wow.
And I hugged that woman, and I looked at her, and I said, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but thank you.
Did you
And-
try drawing it?
And
with the
I
ship?
should have. I should have done a little character sketch. And then this is how late I was. They had to radio to Carnival and send a
Really?
dinghy because the boarding had already ended.
Yeah.
And so I'm in a little bitty boat, and we're going out, and then I have to go up this ladder thing and whatever.
Nothing
they
like
stopped
showing up
it.
to a gig and then making them work extra. You know what I mean? It makes you feel a certain way walking in. Yeah.
So then I get to my room. They're not happy with me at all.
Yeah.
They're mad. They're very mad. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I had a ticket to Cancun. What do you want from me? But I'm also like, I'm not a really confrontational fighter. So they're mad at me and yelling and whatever. I get to my room. And then the show comes, and I walk out there, and I say, "Hey, everybody, I'm an atheist." And then the shit went crazy. I didn't actually.
Yeah.
It's not like I said that, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like, that's a crazy.
That's a good opener.
That's a dumb opening. I was going to give you crap
didn't.
right there.
No, I opened with something about a chicken.
Okay.
And then, but I had some jokes about religion that there were no cuss words in it.
It becomes evident that you are an atheist.
Yeah, it becomes and it's not going well. Even the stuff before that wasn't going well. And then that was just like there were like, oh, like gasps in the audience. And I was like, is everybody okay? It's just really, and the band is on stage too, by the way. There's a band, and at some point I turn around and the drummer like literally goes like this with his sticks.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was
shrug
like, I would go
emoji.
ba-doom boom, but I don't know where it fits.
Yeah. He's like, I gotta have some kind of, anyway. And I walk off stage, and there's the guy standing there, and he goes, "You're fired."
Oh.
And I went,
What?
Yeah. He goes, "You're fired." And I went, "Oh, okay." And then I went back to my room.
Guess I get to just enjoy this cruise ship for a couple
I'm
6,
just
7
like,
days.
all right.
Get the dinghy.
Whatever. And so I'm back in my little ridiculous little room, and I thought, wow, this is crazy. And then someone comes down there, and they say, pack your stuff. There's a helicopter, and we're flying you off the ship. And I was like, okay.
Had you ever been on a helicopter before?
No, it was awesome. It was so cool.
So, all right, you're on the cruise.
That's
They
a
tell you
great-
you're
Oh,
fired.
could have been better if there was like a guy with a chicken or something.
Oh, it would have been amazing if that would have been a bookend.
That's a
was a
crazy.
chicken as the
I know
pilot
I've
of
heard
the
that story
helicopter.
before, but I forgot. Like you're fired that quickly,
Yeah.
and then they it doesn't even seem. It seems made up.
It does seem made up, but this is the reality of the situation. Was they were switching crews, right? So they had people that their shift. I don't know. You're a chef or you're a dishwasher or whatever,
Yeah.
and you work for like 12 days or something, and then that's the end. And then they helicopter you out, and they brought more.
So they didn't bring a helicopter specifically
No.
for you, but you were invited to join them on the way.
Yes. So
They were like,
and-
"Oh, we already have this helicopter. Let's take full advantage and get rid of this Stewart guy."
exactly.
Yeah.
So they were like.
It's a worker.
Like when I got my stuff and went up or whatever, and then there were people getting off, and then there are people getting on, and they're all employees, right? And then I get on, and they flew me to Texas, and then I, went home.
Wow.
And,
So it was a
and then-
worker helicopter.
And then I found out it wasn't my fault; it was their fault. They were
Really?
supposed to send me 2 plane tickets, one from Atlanta to Cancun, and then I was supposed to get on like a puddle jumper and go from Cancun to Cozumel. They didn't send me that second plane ticket.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
See, we can talk about how we don't like cruise ships, but I've been let go from some gigs and have never had a helicopter.
Were you only supposed to be there for one night, or were you legit like?
No, I think I was supposed to do 3 shows.
Did you get paid for the whole thing? Or
Well,
no?
at first they said they weren't going to pay me.
Oh.
And then
Money people get involved.
my manager was like, "No, you are going to pay him." And then it became. And then Al, there was a conversation with Al that was like, "Oh, that's a bad day," And
Saw
then,
you on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Oof.
yeah.
Oof.
And then when it became clear that it was their mistake, they didn't send me both plane tickets. Then they were like, "Okay, here's your money," and then that was it. Then
Did you get invited to more Carnival cruises after that? or?
no,
Okay.
no. I bet I wouldn't have accepted it anyway.
I think you should now. You'd enjoy the thing of doing 5 shows and just being so like that's the gig. Like it's comedy. You're doing 5 different shows. You have a challenge of doing 2 that are clean. You have 7 different hours.
It sounds like the whole thing has evolved a good bit in the last decade or so.
Yeah, I think the only complaint really is that for them is that the rooms are pretty. You're down like you're staying in a small little room and it's windowless and you know what I mean. We're already.
I mean, in that.
I mean, you'd love it.
I don't think I would.
but there's a aloneness to it, and like
I like an aloneness, but I severely like an aloneness. I don't like I don't like being stuck on a boat with people.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I mean, I was only there for 32 minutes, but I did not. I did not like it at all. I would not want to go on a cruise. Period. You know what I mean? If that's
kind of where I am.
That's not my personality.
I get invited, and I totally understand why people like it and enjoy it. I have family that goes out of their way to do it, and they invite me all the time, and it's just like I just can't think of many things that I'm positive enjoy less. I used to love going to sporting events. I really don't enjoy it that much anymore.
I kind of like it. Because I like the aloneness. I like that I read. I like that I'm disconnected a little bit from the world. I like that I get to do comedy, and I like the food. I get, you know what I mean? It gets old after a couple, because it's buffet or whatever, but they have other restaurants, and I like using the gym, getting some sun. You know, I kind of get crap about that. I don't go, like, when we get to a port, I don't go in and do things like. I'm all like, we brought a nicer city with us. You know what I mean? Like, I'm staying here. Like,
but you do the same thing when you're just on the road, right? Like, you don't go out and enjoy the city.
I'm the opposite
yeah,
of
see,
you guys.
I'm big on that. And I wasn't for a long time. It took going on the road with some comics who had done it a lot longer than I to explain to me how to navigate my depression while on the road. I was, all right, we're going on the road. I'll be there a half hour early for the show. Get me my fucking mozzarella sticks so I can go back to the hotel, get in bed, and watch House Hunters International until the next fucking show. And then, you know, it was comics who were like, hey, we're going to a diner at noon. We're going to talk to some people. We're going to walk around the city. And that stuff made a huge difference for me. And now it's the only way I enjoy being on the road.
I think it's all personality. What do you like and what you don't? But I mean, Tom is hilarious. Tom and I work together quite a bit, and I love the way he, you know what I mean? But Tom will do his set, and then I will go up on stage, and we flip flop. Like, you know, Tom a headline, I'll headline the next. But when I'm headlining, Tom will do his set, and then I'll be on stage for 10 minutes, and my phone will light up, and it's a text from Tom that's saying, "I'll see you back at the hotel."
We have this conversation all the time. I think Tom tries to get out of there as soon as possible. And, you know, honestly, man, I'm socially awkward as well, man. I fucking absolutely hate it. But every time I do hang out, and every time you do hang out, it does end up being a better experience than
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
That's everything I do in life is like that. Like, I don't want to go do that. Oh shit, I got to. And then I'm done, and I'm like, that was fun. That was way easier.
Yeah, and I used to be the guy who would, you know, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go start drinking. Fuck all you nerds. But that's how I felt. You know what I mean?
What a great sentence.
That's how you feel. You just don't do the drinking, right?
I do not feel that way.
You do feel that way.
No, I don't.
But then that's how I get to know.
That sentence written on a gray Ford Taurus. That's the car I would drive. I'm out here. I'm going drinking. Fuck all you nerds.
But then forcing myself to hang out and have conversations, especially with the new guys. You know, I started doing that 6-7 years ago, like really being part of whatever community I'm in. The relationships I've had from that have been, I don't know, pretty fucking cool. Like career-wise, that's the coolest thing for me is all the relationships I have with the people I met because I decided to hang out a little longer.
Yeah, I do. I mean, when I'm working with somebody, I usually hang out with them the week or or whatever, and I bond pretty well for that week. Then we text a couple times over the next few weeks, and then next time I see them 6 years later, we just pick it right back
They
up.
Reintroduced themselves to you because you forgot
We met, like, we went for a week. Remember when
The amount of times you asked Seth what his name was hilarious to me.
Tom, you drove me here.
That's so great.
When I first started getting into it, one of the things that I was most excited about was going to New York and going to LA and seeing where the fuck I was going to move because fuck Greensboro, you know? Mm-hmm. And I was living in my van, but one thing I would do is I'd be like, all right, I'm at the Harris Teeter fucking Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. If you bring $50, you can get in the van. I'll bring it to New York. I'll bring it back. And so I'd load that van up with a bunch of people. We'd drive to New York. I drop them off. I tell them, these are all the open mics. This is the train schedule. wait here an hour for everybody, and then I'm heading back to North Carolina. And so I go to New York, and I'm hanging out, and I'm trying to introduce myself after every open mic or show or whatever. And I'm saying, what's up to everybody? And I introduce myself to this one guy, and he says to me, yeah, dude, you drove me here. I had no idea. I knew this fucking kid. I drove him to New York and then introduced myself to him.
So do you embrace the conversation right there? Or you're like, well, then you're useless to me. I got to pick this up again. Like, you obviously don't leave an impression.
Dude, I'm honest. I was just like, hey man, I come here every 3 weeks. I meet 15 different comics every time I'm here. Good to meet you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not ashamed of my shitty memory.
Do you remember who that guy is?
He doesn't do comedy anymore, but I could find him on social media if I had any interest.
So he stuck with you after that.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Could finger him in a lineup.
Well, he doesn't
You
do
need an
comedy
event.
anymore.
You need a thing to happen that really sticks people in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds like a good traveling buddy. Doesn't complain. you
Yeah,
know?
he was fine.
Yeah.
They were all fine.
He paid up, obviously, or you remembered him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.